It's time for the Daily Racing Form weekend preview. This one is our Kentucky Oaks preview. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Alexa Zepp. Alexa, it's ladies first on Friday before the big Saturday of Kentucky Derby Day. It is a huge day of racing that culminates with the big one, the Kentucky Oaks, as the feature for Friday. I'm pumped to talk about this big field. How's everything going on your end?
It's great. I'm looking at the times because when this is airing, we're going to be how far away from the Oaks? Just a couple hours out from the Oaks. So, yeah, it's great. I'll be there. I'll be on site cheering on the horses, cheering them to run in ovals real fast.
So on this show, we're going to go through all of the fillies that are entered in the Kentucky Oaks. We did find out on Thursday that one of them will not be running. So we'll let you know that news. And then in the final segment, we'll talk some wagering, how we're going to bet on that particular race. And we'll do a little Oaks Derby double. It's a fun wager that I think a lot of people like to, where you can put together the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby on Saturday. Alexa, we got a lot of ground to cover. Let's meet this field here for the Kentucky Oaks. $1.5 million up for grabs for these 3-year-old fillies. And just like with the Kentucky Derby, there was a series of qualifying races for these fillies. They had to pick up points along the way in order to get into this race. Alexa, we'll start things out with Early On, who comes into this race off of back-to-back second place finishes in stakes races, in good races, behind Fawnley and Ballerina d'Oro, a couple horses that are in the race. She goes out for a really good trainer, Saffie Joseph Jr., who's one of the absolute best down in Florida. What do you think about Early On's chances?
Yeah, Early On's an interesting horse. Like you said, been knocking on the door for a win. She had that second place by a nose in the Grade 3 Gazelle a month ago. Those races are probably easier than she'll be facing today. The one hole isn't super bad for her. A lot of horses, you're not super happy when you draw the one hole, especially if you want to get out early. But for her running style, I'm not too worried about it. I do think this is going to be a bit too tough of a placement for her, though.
And she'll be right inside of Simply Joking, who is probably going to be showing some speed, Alexa. She won her first 2 starts. Then in her third start, she was a really good second behind Quiet Side, who's the number 14 in this race. And we can see Simply Joking maybe improving off of that race because she hadn't run in a couple months.
Yeah, and she has improved a lot. Like every time she's added distance, every start improved her speed figures. I think she's a real player in here. And one thing that's important to note, so we're supposed to get lots of interesting weather over the next couple days here in Kentucky. So it's likely going to be quite sloppy, quite rainy. And she has one in the slop. And a lot of horses don't like that. I mean, when you think about it, you're getting all the mud in your face. It can be hard to make up ground because when you think about, your hooves, they're kind of, if it's muddy, it can be cuppy, like be hard to kind of stick to the ground. It can be hard to get that momentum going. So it does affect the pace setup and how races unfold. So you like to see a horse who has done well in the slot before.
Fawnley is the next one. She won the Virginia Oaks, so that was her big victory, and she's 2 for 2. She hasn't done a whole lot, wrong in her career, obviously, but this is a big step up, right? She's going to be facing a bigger field and a lot tougher, and she's gotten pretty easy trips in both of her races. She'll probably have to have a much different trip and really have to earn it in a race like this.
Yeah, she really will. I mean, this is going to be a really different level of quality of horses that she's ever faced before. I did see her trainer Motion commented on her post position draw saying he was really happy about it. She does get Irad aboard, who's obviously one of the best jockeys out there, but she's just been running figures so much slower than the rest of the field, so I'll have to pass on her.
She did slightly defeat Fondly when they faced off against each other in the Virginia Oaks. The number 4 is Drexel Hill, and she's another one, Alexa, that I think is going to have to step up a little bit to be competitive with the top fillies in this race. I could see her at least being a horse who can pass some horses late because that's kind of her running style. She's a late runner. So maybe a lot of these horses that are tiring and backing up, she could be going by them. Maybe the type of horse you use in the bottom of your tries and supers. I don't think I could get her much higher than there, though.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the morning line odds, which is a guess of what she'll actually go off at, and they've given her 30 to 1 or plus 3,000. So not going to be favored in here, but, switched to dirt in December after running exclusively on synthetic at Woodbine as a 2-year-old. She has hit the board in 5 out of 7 starts, seems to be consistently improving, but like you're saying, still kind of a cut below the rest in here from a speed figure standpoint. This will also be a big distance test for her. You know, half of her races have been going less than a mile, and never gone this far. So it's going to be tough.
We continue on to Quick Kick, who's another closer, not a horse that you'll see towards the front of the pack early. This is one who will be settled towards the back, will be kind of relaxing back there and hope that others are going very fast early and they're battling it out. She's going to try to come and run them all down late. She just hasn't really been in the best of form. She's been pretty easily handled recently by Quiet Side and by Good Cheer, who are two of more of the top contenders in here. Can you give like a reason for her or make an excuse for her recent races?
Well, her trainer's Tom Amos, who's a local trainer here in Kentucky at Churchill, and he has won the Oaks before with Serengeti Empress, so he does know what it takes. But I don't know, you know, she had that third place finish in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies in November, and she hasn't won um, since her second start last September. And I just don't feel like she's been progressing like I'd want her to see coming into this race. And she's lost to a number of common opponents today. So I do think it's going to be a really tough spot for her.
The next couple, I think, are logical contenders here. And I do believe we have a replay that we can show you of Ballerina Dioro. Last time out, Ballerina Dioro won the Gazelle at Aqueduct, going a mile and an eighth, which is a real positive because that's the distance of the Kentucky Oaks. And it looked initially like right about this point of the race, Alexa, like she was just going to blow by, but she did get a little bit green. She's still kind of figuring it out. She had a hard time, like really kind of straightening her stride and switching leads, was what they call that, when you can really get the best out of your stride efficiently. But she still won, was able to win, even though she probably left a length or so out on the track. I think she's going to get a great setup in here in a bigger field with a lot of fillies that are going to be on the lead or pushing each other towards the front end. I think she'll drop back. She'll make one late run. She'll go third start off the bench. I think there's a lot of little things to like about her. What do you think about Ballerina Dioro?
You know, it's interesting you mentioned the switching of leads. So, like, these horses are really young. You know, the Derby and the Oaks are for 3-year-olds. They can't start their racing careers until 2-year-old years, and a lot of them not until late in that year. So they really are learning with every start and switching of the leads. So a horse leads with one leg, and then when they go around that turn, they want to switch to lead with the other leg, and you'll see this kind of like burst of momentum, you know, around that stretch and through the stretch. And that's when a horse switches leads. And some horses, it comes really naturally. Some horses, it has to be trained into them a little bit more. So you see these green babies and they're learning it and they're figuring it out. So I think that race probably taught her a lot. I still think she'll need to step up, but I do not think it's out of her reach today.
And right next door will be a horse who's probably going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum as far as style is concerned.
Yeah.
If you look at Lacara, she's a number 7. We have her towards the front of that pace projector that we're looking at. She's kind of in the third spot, and her trainer has actually said she's going to be on the lead. He said, we think she is really, really fast and she does her best on the lead. And this is her on the lead last time out when she won the Ashland and she crushed this group. This was an impressive race, Alexa, and she's going to be one of the horses they have to catch in here.
Yeah, so this is the Ashland you're looking at, like you said, but then she won the Pocahontas as well, and that race looked so different. She closed
At
in 11th
Churchill.
place. Right, right. And so it's great to hear the trainer wants her on the lead, but also to see that she does have tactical speed. She is able to handle different pace scenarios. She's not this like one run horse who, if she doesn't get there, she has a little bit of trouble, you know, can't make up ground. So really talented. I think drew a nice post position for that versatile running style, especially if they want to send her to the lead. Didn't draw too far on the inside. So a horse to not ignore.
So Lacara, major player. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll finish off with the rest of the Kentucky Oaks field. Don't forget, you can get the free Kentucky Derby wagering guide right now when you scan that QR code on your screen, and everything you need over the next couple days, shop.drf.com. It'll take you right to that home base where you can get all of the tools you need to succeed when you're playing the Oaks and the Derby. Scan that QR code. We'll be right back after this.
Cosmo was supposed to fight Ciaran Clark, but he had to pull off injury. You get the call. You get to go in there. What was it like for you when you got that call, jumping in there and be part of this bantamweight tournament on short notice?
Terrifying, man. 2 weeks notice against a stud, but I've been preparing my whole life for it, and I couldn't say no to the opportunity, and saw what happened. I came in there and kind of shocked the world. Not kind of, I did.
Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We know your other brother Marv did the Knicks forever, but you've done just about every team in the league. You did Ames, you did Dr. J games.
But after 45 years in this crazy business, people kept telling me, you got to write a book. So I did, and here it is.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Okay, so we introduced you to numbers 1 through 7. Now we have to let you know about the rest of the field, starting with number 8, Alexa, who actually found out on Friday is unfortunately going to be scratched. It's such a bummer when these horses qualify for big races like this and then they can't run. I mean, as an owner how hard it is just to get horses to the track, and when you qualify for a big race, it's a bummer. But it is worth mentioning because even if 5G wouldn't have won, she would have been a horse that is really quick and could have been a major pace factor and made things really difficult for other horses up front, like Lacara, Simply Joking. So with her coming out of the race, it does probably help some of those speed horses a little bit more, like the 2, like the 7 horses that should be up front.
I mean, if you see the pace projector on the screen, so the pace projector won't update until those official scratch, notifications come in, which won't be until later on Friday. So she'll be removed eventually from the pace projector. But yeah, she was expected to be the pace setter in here. So that's definitely going to open that up a little bit. And if you're a horse who can get away alone on the lead, that's a big advantage.
Yep. So let's move to the 9 now. And this one is Tenma, who comes in from the West Coast. And she's been really impressive. She's won 5 of her 6 starts. She's won 3 in a row. But if you look at the field sizes that she's been facing and the races that she's been in, Alexa, she's never been in a field bigger than 7. And this is another one of those small fields that she's winning this race. This is the Santa Anita Oaks. It was only a field of 5. She beat 2 other horses in the Las Virgenes. So if you put the last 2 races together, there have only been a total of 8 horses, and she's going to face 12 others in this field. So it might not be as easy for her as it's been out west, where she gets to kind of beat up on horses that she's obviously better than. She's going to really face some tough customers in here.
Yeah, we see that a lot with these horses who are coming from California, because this is her first time outside of California. And California racing just generally has smaller fields, especially at Santa Anita. So yeah, it's interesting. She's a 4 times graded stakes winner, which is probably a better record than a lot of the other horses in here. But like you're saying, she hasn't really beaten that many horses. But she has had some really fast speed figures. I think if she can repeat her very best performance, she could be a real deal contender in here. She's in for Bob Baffert too, who's back in the game after a couple years of not being in the Oaks and Derby.
The number 10 is trained by the trainer of last year's Kentucky Oaks winner and is ridden by the rider of last year's Kentucky Oaks winner. Same rider, same jockey, same trainer. And that was Torpedo Anna. This is Take Charge Milady. Alexa, every time I say this, I say Milady to you. I feel like we've talked about her 25 times through the different months. But she is a horse who ran second in the Ashland behind Lacara. So we saw the video of her a little bit earlier on. She fits really well with this group. And if there is a good amount of early speed, I can see her closing. I don't really have many knocks on her. It's just that she did have a couple small issues in the mornings, like training coming up into the race, things that weren't the biggest deal, but you want horses to be coming into this race with everything going well.
Yeah, you do. Thank you, my man. No, that didn't work. I love it. Okay, so she won back-to-back races in January at Oaklawn and then totally flopped, right, in the Grade 3 Honeybee in February. And she encountered traffic there. And when you're a closing horse, that's always going to be a risk. You're going to have to run horses down and pass them. And if you don't have a clear path, you don't have a clear path. So that's something she'll just always have to face because of her running style. But like you said, then came back and ran in the Ashland at Keeneland and got second place. And her workouts, I think, show her to be pretty tuned up and ready. So I also like that she's won in the mud before, considering the forecast. So I do think Take Charge Milady is a contender.
Good Cheer is just awesome. She's run 6 times. She's won all 6 times. It's never been closer than like 2+ lengths. She's beat every horse she's ever faced by at least 2 lengths. So she's never really been tested. But this will be the toughest group she's ever faced in a really big field, and she is drawn towards the outside. So there are a couple things that you can kind of maybe poke holes in if you're trying to beat her, but you can't poke holes in her overall resume. She is absolutely perfect so far, and she's no doubt the one they're all going to have to beat, Alexa.
Yeah, she's done nothing wrong. The horse who's been closest to her is Quiet Side, who's the 14 here that we'll get to. And she ran up to 2.5 lengths behind her. But like you said, these other wins have come 6, 8, 17 lengths in front of the others. So her speed figures, though, are comparable with other horses in here. So on paper, she's not running like blazing, figures that no one can contend with. But when you look at the actual finish positions, I mean, she is kind of blowing them down. So I think she's the one to beat, but also her odds match that, right? She's got a morning line of 6-5, which is basically even money. And I imagine we'll go off at even money. So if you're trying to leverage and get some value out of here, you're probably going to try to beat her.
Yeah, and kind of like we were talking about with Tenma, she's not been in that small of fields, but she's never been in a field bigger than 8. And this will be a little bit bigger. Maybe she has to deal with some traffic and things just aren't quite as easy for her. Anna's Promise has some good early speed. I just couldn't quite get there with her. But her most recent form is very good. Her last 3 races in a row are solid. This is just a pretty big class step up.
Yeah, I mean, she's improved every out, and so I don't think there's a reason to believe we've seen her ceiling yet. This will also be the longest she's ever gone. But 0 for 3 at Churchill, so has not performed well. I mean, she's had a couple second places, but still hasn't been able to find the winner's circle at Churchill. So I think she would need her absolute best for this to be an attainable spot for her.
Bless the Broken is the number 13. She won impressively on a synthetic surface. So not a dirt surface, not a turf surface. It's different than that. And this won't be that surface. So I'm a little bit wary, but she does come in at a big price. Can you make a case for her?
I mean, she's talented, but her wins, like you said, are coming on synthetic or at lower levels. So I think this is probably too tall of an ask.
And your top selection, I believe, rounds out the field. Quiet Side, while she has been defeated by Good Cheer before, she's just in great form right now. She is improving. Her last 2 races at Oaklawn were so nice. She has speed, but she doesn't really need the lead. She can sit off, and she's a fighter. We've seen her have to battle and win those battles. Talk to us a little more about your top pick.
Yeah, I mean, she's never been off the board. I don't think that's going to change. She's super consistent. She's shown that she can handle the mud as well in the Grade 1 Spinaway last August. And like you said, the horse that's gotten closest to Good Cheer so far. So if anybody's going to beat her, I think she has the best chance of doing it.
So how did you stack them, Alexa? Because when we return from this break, we're going to talk about how we're betting the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah, I have Quiet Side over Good Cheer, and then the 2 Simply Joking and the 7 Lacara.
6, 2, 11, 7 for me. When we return from this break, we'll bet the Kentucky Oaks. And don't forget, Kentucky Derby packages are available. Shop.drf.com. Everything you need to succeed playing the Kentucky Derby.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
They've won 7 in a row. They've been dominant at Citi Field. Lindor's been insane. Pete Alonso's been raking.
You know, Griffin Canning, David Peterson, those guys have pitched really, really well. And when you put it together with that lineup, especially like you said, Lindor's been great. You know, they've got the makings of something very special in Queens.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Fans hate them. Like, kids go to Giant games and they're like, my father forces me to come, or my grandfather was a season ticket holder. Like, no one has fun. It's a miserable place to go.
The Giants' problem has always been over the last several years, and it's been the reason why Barkley never really got off, is the offensive line.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Alexa, I've been really admiring that jacket that you're wearing over there. It looks very fashionable. Can I see a little more of that jacket, please? Pop that collar.
Give me a look, see? Give me a little,
Here we go.
little collar pop here.
Okay, and tell me a little bit more about that jacket, because we have a graphic to show you about these jackets and where you can get your hands on some.
Yeah, these are J Coffee jackets, so they're super cool. What she does, she's local here in Kentucky, and she sews vintage racing scarves into the back panel and also the sleeves and the collar of the jacket. So there's a bunch of different designs. There's a bunch of derby designs. They're just really cool and super comfortable. I was lucky. They gave me one, so I can show it off.
It goes hand in hand with Derby Day, right? Like the fashion, the fancy dresses, the suits, the hats that everybody's wearing.
Oh,
right?
You best believe I'll be sporting some hats this weekend. So yeah, racing is, I think, well, I love racing for many reasons. And one is just the fashion and expression that you get to have at all the big events and the small events if you're feeling it. So
And one of the other reasons is the betting that you get to make a lot of money, Alexa, and you're going to try to help some of us make some money in the Kentucky Oaks. How are we going to do that with the $100 that we give you? Give you $100, send it to you. What are you going to do with it? It's in the mail. I gave you the $100 actual cash, so I sent it your way.
You cut me a check.
Exactly. Yep.
I believe it when I see it.
How are we going to bet your 100?
Okay, so if that check ever arrives, this is how I bet.
It's in the mail. It's on the way.
Oaks. I would do a $20 exacta box. So when you see the word box around bets and horse racing, it means that the horses that you've selected can come in any order. So for me, the box is 11, 14, and an exacta is the first two finishing positions. So it could come 14, 11 or 11, 14, either way. So that's a kind of safe way to bet. A lot of times, if you just box your selections, you don't have to be super specific on what order they come in. But that is good cheer and quiet side. So I have the favorite in there who I think is really strong, like we talked about, has never lost. And then quiet side, the one who's gotten close to beating her and is going to provide a little more value at likely plus 800 odds. So that's my exacta box. And then I also have a trifecta, which is the first three in order. You could do a trifecta box if you wanted, but
it's been a little more expensive when you get into tries and supers and you want a box, right? So that you just got to make sure you're careful, because you could end up playing really expensive tickets.
You could play a ticket that you actually hit, but it doesn't pay enough to
Loses
cover
money.
how much you spent on it. Yeah. So
Yep.
you kind of have to have, a value, risk versus reward, right?
Discipline. Exactly.
Exactly. But my trifecta would be those two on top, Good Cheer and Quiet Side, and then the 2, 7, 11, 14 underneath, which includes Simply Joking, who's going to be early speed, and Lucara.
So for me, Alexa, I want to try to lean on the two horses who I think are going to be nice value in the Oaks. One of them is Ballerina d'Oro. So I'll bet 40 of my 100 just to win straight up on Ballerina d'Oro. Then I'm going to play a trifecta. And if I can get either Ballerina d'Oro or Simply Joking to win, I'll have a lot of possibilities in the second and third spot. And both of those horses are going to be pretty nice prices. I think they're both going to be in like the 8-10 to 1 range, like above 6 to 1. So I think if either one of them were to win, I'm already looking at a pretty nice payout in my trifecta. So then even if it's a little bit more logical where we had horses like Good Cheer and Quiet Side or Lucara finishing second and third, we'd already have that nice price winner. So could be sitting on at least a couple $100 with that try. I mean, if a horse like Ballerina d'Oro is 10 to 1, that 40 to win right there could be giving you back quite a bit of money too, about $400 just on that. So those are how we might bet with 100. So I think that's a good bankroll that a lot of people might be able to use. It's not massive. It's not the tiniest in the world.
And
but
you
how
can
about
scale it up and down too? Like
Yeah.
if 100's a little steep, then scale it down. And if you're like, I would bet
Absolutely.
1,000, then do it times 10.
We don't shame here by bankroll at all. Not at all. For one person, $2 is 2,000, so it's all relative. Let's move to Oaks Derby doubles. This is a popular bet that connects the Kentucky Oaks with the Kentucky Derby. How did you set up your Oaks Derby double?
Yeah, so for the Oaks, I used the 2, 11, and 14. So Quiet Side, Good Cheer, and Simply Joking. I've got the favorite and then 2 longer ones in there. And then I spread a little bit in the Derby. I've got the 7, 8, 9, 10, and 17. So I've got the favorite. I've got Journalism. I've got Sandman. I've also got Luxor Cafe, who's the Japanese contingent, Burnham Square, and the 10 horse who I'm spacing. Who's the 10? Oh, your favorite.
Grande. That's
Yeah.
a great way to pass the baton to me. I love the 10 Grande. The 8 is Journalism. And the 7 is Luxor Cafe, the horse from Japan that we just don't really know a whole lot about, a real wild card. So hopefully we were able to set you up nicely for Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Oaks Friday. Don't forget, we've got a lot of coverage for Saturday, Kentucky Derby Day, and hopefully you've already watched that and you've already got your races all set. But if not, you'll be able to check it out again on Saturday when it re-airs, and we're back again with more. We'll see you again next week on the Daily Racing Forum, a weekend preview.
Here's a tip. Let's say you bet big on a 4-game moneyline parlay. Your first 3 bets have hit, but you're a little nervous about the last game. Consider placing a separate bet against the team you have winning in your parlay. You're technically a winner either way. Now, go get lucky. See you in Lost Pages. Let's get lucky.
We're going to get a bunch of upsets. We're going to get a lot of craziness. Didn't happen as well. I mean, over the last calendar year, Sam, I don't ever recall 6 or 8 months of time in sports where the books lost, but here we are.
They estimate FanDuel and DraftKings lost $185 million combined for March Madness. So estimating not just that they didn't have a profitable March Madness, but it was a huge loss for them as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that rhythm. Get it inside.
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.